Apostles of Jesus, House of Prophecy. Mornings with the Powerhouse Apostles. For prayer and inspiration on Zeno FM. Start your day the right way.
Apostles of Jesus, House of Prophecy, with your host, A.J.C.
I'm sorry for the lateness. Welcome. Blessings. Good morning. I apologize for the lateness in the hour. The day's been already hectic, but I thank God again. I want to thank everybody for coming by visiting. I want to thank everybody that will see the replay or hear the replay on Zeno FM. Now, a couple of people had a problem with Zeno FM, so here's what you do. You download the app, and once you download the app, then you can just search. When you go into the search, you're going to put AJ Ministries HOP. Simple as that. It'll bring up my page or my account, and you just go in there. You can go through anyone you want to hear right now. But that being said, today is a good morning. It's a good morning. It's a wonderful morning. It's a great morning. I tell you, I love God. If you out there, you love God, give God a shout right now. Hallelujah. Just give him a good old shout this morning, because he's worthy of all the praise. So today, God, if you ever go to the website, get a chance to go to the website, we have a series that we have on different topics. I have one series up there that's on relationships, specifically faith-based relationships, and it goes into detail about different aspects and stuff of it. But the one I want to talk about today, so I want to pull one of those topics out and talk about it today. So today's topic is really about relationships, faith-based relationships specifically. Now, when you go into the website and you open up that particular a group of topics or of that series, you'll see one of them says you have to learn to speak the same language. Speaking on one accord, or language on one accord, I forget the exact name of it, but it's just learning to speak the same language, because most couples don't speak the same language. So to preface that, what I wanted you to think about is this. If you remember a few years ago, 2018, you would have seen so many faith-based marriages breaking up. You would have also saw a couple years after that, I think it was 2019, no, actually it's 2019, the following year, you saw after that, you saw several religious leaders coming out of the closet. And I laugh, but it's not funny. And then after that, we got the COVID virus. So the COVID virus shut down churches all the way around, the way we never knew it could do, but it shut down churches. And this is a continued attack against faith-based relationships. See, when two come together under Christ, they have an anointing, they have a power, they have a strength that the enemy fears, because they're walking together to do with one mindset, to do one thing. A lot of times we get those pastors that have a faith-based relationship, but really don't even know how to speak the same language. They really don't understand what's going on with their partner, even when it's right in front of their face. When I talk about relationships breaking up, faith-based relationships, I'm not talking about the average everyday relationship. I'm talking about relationships that were together 25 years, and all of a sudden one of them was caught doing something in infidelity. They've had people married, got 10, 15,000 people, churches in their church, and the man or the woman comes out and said that they're really homosexual. All these things. Then Corona said nobody go to church at all. So we had to figure out another way to speak to people. All of these are attacks against Christianity. It's attacks against faith-based relationships. See, the enemy said, if I can confuse you and take away your ability to speak to one another, I can take away the power of Christ. So this topic is really about learning how to speak to your mate. Learning how to, and this is good not only for faith-based relationships, but for any relationship. First of all, we want to understand that men and women speak differently. Men usually speak in exacts. And what I mean by exacts, men go straight to the point. I want this. I need that. Only time you hear a man talking out of an exacts is when he's not sure. If a man is not sure, then you'll hear him say maybe, probably. But when a man is leading, he really doesn't have that option of the maybe or probably aspect of it. So the first thing you want to understand is that a man speaks in exacts. I'm going to do this. And if he's telling the truth, it's going to come out without any hesitation. It's going to come out without any flaws. It's going to come straight like that. I'm going to do this. You ask him what he did, he's going to say, I went to work, I did my job, and I came back home. Now, when a man speaks and not sure of it, you'll hear him say probably. I might do this. I may do that. It probably is going to happen like this. That's because he's unsure of the direction he's going in. So that's when a man, when he's unsure, that's when his leadership becomes questioned. Like, okay, if you're not sure of what you're about to do or what you're going to do, then how can a woman says, how can they trust you? And it's easy when you think about it. When you hear a guy, he's about to go out with his friends. What are you guys doing? I don't know, we're just going out. That's the truth. When you ask him the second time, where are you going? And he said, we may go here, we might go here, we'll probably get something to eat. He's not sure of the activities that he's going to be doing, but he is sure that he's going out with his buddies. You get me? So when you ask him where is he going, he said he's just going out for a couple of drinks with the guys. That's what his mind is set on. Now the intricacies of it, he doesn't know. And that's the thing where women come in. Women, you'll tell a man, I'm going out to get drinks, we're going to go to this place, we're going to go there, because you're pretty sure about where you're going. And even when you come back and he asks you how did everything go and what happened, you'll tell him every little detail. He'll say, hey, we had a couple of drinks, went to get something to eat and we came home. You know what I mean? And that's how men speak. He won't tell you, oh, we've seen it. And now, if he saw a fight, man, these guys start fighting. He'll forget about the drinks and everything else, but he'll talk about that because that was the most exciting thing that happened. But otherwise, everything else is pretty much dull. It's the same old, same old. So men don't speak like that. So women, when you're talking to your husband, when you're talking to your man, understand, if he uses the word maybe, if he uses the word might, he's unsure. He's not, that thing, that part of that walk that he's talking about has not become open to him because he doesn't know. He maybe even playing it by ear. Do not put him in a situation where you're making him explain his every move, because then he'll start making up stuff. And when he comes home afterwards, and if you ask him what did he do, if he doesn't answer it exactly as he said it when he left, you're going to be all over him telling him he's lying. Well, he did not lie, he wasn't sure when he said it. You forced him into a situation to make him say something. And rather than seeing like he didn't have an answer, he'd rather answer it with a maybe than to answer it with the truth. Why? Because he didn't know the truth. So don't put your husband in that position. So many times walking in Christ or walking in a relationship, a woman will ask me, what did I do? What did you do today? And I'll say, I went to work, I had some lunch, gave you a call, and I came home. Period. Women, we understand, now I understand now, that when I say those things, it means nothing to you. Because you want to know, who did I speak to? Did I see anybody today? Did we have any interesting conversations? You want us to open up in our day about that situation. In most cases, it doesn't even dawn on those things to men are insignificant. So we don't say them. The same way when we're doing something wrong. When we're doing something wrong, we make up a specific answer for you. You can see through those because we start to do what is called making up things on the fly. That's why we automatically get caught if you wait a couple of months and ask us about it again. We can't give you detailed information. We can only give you surface information because we haven't thought that deep into that problem. A lot of times, a woman asks a man, what you do today, and he'll give you all this, he'll give you a whole lot of stuff, and if he talks enough, you feel good about the fact that he talked that much. Just because he's doing a lot of talking doesn't mean he's answering the question. That's two things you need to look out for. One, if he's doing a whole lot of talking, make sure he's answering the question, not just talking to take up time. And what I mean by talking to take up time is he'll give you a whole lot of words, but the question you ask him will be evasive. This is learning to speak his language. Also, women, men, when you're talking to a woman, men always have this thing about women where they say that women is always arguing, women is always yelling, women is always screaming. Well, there's a couple of reasons why women do that. The first reason is that they don't think you listen to them if they're not arguing. They don't think you hear them if they're not screaming. They don't think you reverence what they're saying if they don't have an attitude behind it. So, every time their voice goes up an octave, we think they're yelling. Men, let me break it down a little bit for you. So, there's a lot of reasons why women might yell. And again, the first reason is because they may think you don't never hear what they're saying if they're talking to you in a regular voice. Or you don't respect what they're saying if he's talking to you in a regular voice. So they have to scream to try to get their point across. The second thing is that they may be screaming or yelling out of different reasons. A woman is very protective. And if a woman gets afraid, they will scream. They will holler. If you go out there and they get yourself in some trouble, they screaming and hollering, they shouting, they mad. Well, and you wondering why you screaming. I'm the one who got into trouble, why you screaming? Well, they're afraid for you. They're not afraid for what happened. They're afraid for you because you went out there and got yourself into something and they were nowhere around where they could try to assist you or help you. And I know it may sound like, I can take care of myself. No, you can. They don't have a doubt in you taking care of yourself. The problem is they love you. And because they love you and they found out that you had gotten to something, their fear element kicks in automatically. So it's not that they're yelling at you, they're afraid for you. They're afraid. Well, I'm okay. Yeah, I know you okay, but another reason why women yell is because they're emotional. Women have a fight or flight response about things. Like most men do have a fight or flight response. It's a normal reaction for everybody to have a fight or flight reaction. The problem is if a woman hears about something after the fact, they automatically, the fear and then the emotional part kicks in and the anger kicks in. So now they're fighting. So you get up, you go outside, and you want to sell something. Say you're selling drugs or whatever. And she's enjoying the money, don't get it wrong. But she's angry at you because you're selling drugs. She really doesn't want you to sell drugs. So what she'll do is she'll be mad about the fact you're selling drugs, even though the reason why you're selling drugs right now is to help support the family. Well, that is okay with her as far as supporting the family. The problem is, can't you do it another way? So they're going to be afraid every time you go out. They're going to be afraid, they're going to be scared, they're going to be mad, they're going to be like, man, you out there all night, blah, 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 blah. You coming home with money to take care of the family, to feed the kids, to do what you need to do for your home. And they're like, man, you scare me. These are the words that come out of a fearful place. When a woman is okay with you selling drugs, and she's not afraid of you doing it any longer, that's a woman you don't need on your side. That's a woman you do not need on your side. That woman you do not need on your side. If that woman says it's okay for you to be out there selling drugs, it's okay for you to be putting yourself on the line every day just to make ends meet, that's a woman you don't need on your side. Because that's a woman that isn't willing to go out there. So she's out there, she might even be out there working, and you selling drugs. But if she's working, she should want you to work and not have to worry about you being out there doing drugs, because she knows the dangers of being out there selling drugs. She knows that danger. That's a woman you don't want. You want that woman that's going to bug you about getting the job, even if it's a job that you don't respect. Even if it's a low-paying job, she'd rather you be working a job, making a little bit of money, honestly, than on a corner, because that's what because she's not out there. See, I see so many men getting wrapped up with these women, and these women see them, and oh, they got bling, and they got money, and they got all this good stuff. So I see all this stuff going on, and now I'm saying, wow, the women, in a lot of cases, is like rooting the man on to go out there and get this money. He come back home with thousands of dollars. She all excited and happy, but she ain't even working. Why? Well, she's not working because she know he out there doing the work. She got 3-4 kids in the house. She babysitting all day. Well, not babysitting because they hers, but she got 3-4 kids in the house. He out there well and making good money. They smoking marijuana and doing all these other illegal things. So she good. She living a good life until he get locked up. Because believe me, you got two things gonna happen. Either you're gonna get locked up or you're gonna get killed out on them streets. Hopefully you get locked up before you get killed, so you can hopefully get some sense. But if your woman is in there and she's hearing you and she's allowing it to go on as a status quo, oh, he was selling drugs when I got here, and that's a good thing. When you learn to listen to how your woman speaks, or why she's doing something, or saying something, or speaking the way she's speaking, you learn to hear her heart. And women the same way with a man. You learn to hear a man's heart. When a man is afraid, he gets angry. Because alpha males, all they know how to do is to fix things. Alpha male, you present a problem with an alpha male, you present a problem to an alpha male, and an alpha male says, his first reaction is, how can I fix it? What can I do to fix that? So when you come to him with all this emotional stuff, he doesn't know what to do to fix it. He's confused at first. He's what do I do to, I'm on my period, I'm having it. So his only reaction is to leave. Okay, I'm gonna get away from you, let you go through your womanly stuff, and I'll come back when it's done. But he's an alpha male. He can't fix the fact that you have a woman issue. Okay? Alpha male, you come to him telling him he was having problems at work. His first reaction is, where that joker at? Who is she? I'm gonna handle this. That's alpha male's reaction. When in fact, all you wanted him to do was listen. But if he doesn't understand the way you speak, or y'all don't have your own way to speak to one another, he doesn't know, should he go out there and beat somebody up, or should he just hear your words because you're just bidding? That's the difference between knowing the language of your partner. I consider myself an alpha male. Even before I got married, people was coming to me that were total and complete. You know, they didn't, just friends and family members. And they would actually come to me and ask me questions about stuff. Now, I didn't know the answers, but because of my confidence, I answered the questions. Or I gave them a direction they could go in. This was me being alpha. Like, listen, if it was me, I'd do this. You got a problem, you face that problem head on. Period. Now, the problem with alpha male is they don't think they have any problems. So if you got your alpha, he doesn't believe anything he does is wrong. And that's our weakness, because we are alpha, but we don't believe we have anything wrong with us. Because everything we do is calculated. It's right. I thought up it. So that's the problem with an alpha male. They think it's right. Everything they do is right. Now, that problem in itself can cause a problem in relationships. Because of everything I say, if I believe everything comes out of my mouth is correct, it's correct for me. It may not be correct for us, but it's correct for me. So if I answer this question, I'm answering it what I would do. I'm not answering it what you should do, because you and me are two different people. Okay? Understand the type of man you're with. Understand the speech that's coming forth from your mouth. See, a lot of women get a beta man. A beta male. A beta male is a listener. He has a softer heart. He's more compassionate towards you. The problem is, a beta male isn't a male that's going to be all outgoing, forceful, and moving forward. He'll find a position. He'll get in that position and get comfortable in that position. That position, he'll get used to it. He'll get comfortable there, and he'll just stay right there in that lane. He will never venture to go higher. He'll never venture to do more outside of that lane, because he's comfortable there. He knows it. He's familiarized with stuff. That's a beta male. You come home to a beta male, you screaming and tripping, you losing your mind, hollering and screaming. A beta male will sit there, and at the end of that conversation, won't say a word. Won't give you any response, won't give you anything. And you're looking at him, he doesn't know what to do, when to do. An alpha man will automatically, at the end of the conversation, he wants to start talking. The problem is, like I said, an alpha male is going to give you his viewpoints from what he would do, because he's a man. He's all man. He's going to come out, he's going to say, listen, you need to leave that job, find you another job, and tell everybody on that job to kiss your butt. A beta male will say, hey, what do you want to do? So you don't want a complete beta, you don't want a complete alpha. You want a man that's in touch with his emotional side, as well as strong enough to lead you. That's where Christianity or faith-based man comes in. A faith-based man is an alpha male that learned to have beta tendencies. See, when I talk to my wife, I've learned to hear her heart. Not just to hear the words coming out of her mouth, but to hear her heart. I understand now that sometimes she don't need me to be screaming. She don't need me to go out there and fight for her. She don't. Sometimes she don't need me to give her an answer back. I just have to learn when those times was. I had to learn that sometimes when she come home after work and she be crying and mad. Welcome. I'm sorry for the lateness. We have anything wrong with us, because everything we do is to do, when to do. An alpha man will automatically, at the end of the conversation, he wants to start talking. The problem is, like I said, an alpha male is going to wants me to hear her words, give her comfort, and tell her it's going to be all right, until it won't. You get what I'm saying? And the same thing about a a woman into a man. When a man actually opens himself up to you and starts to tell you inner secrets, things that he wouldn't tell nobody else, that is not a time for you. That is not ammunition for you to use on him when you get angry. Too many women will take something that a man gives them in total confidence, and when she gets angry, she put it right in his face. That's the worst thing that you could ever do to a man, because now you told him that the things that he said to you, the sacred things that he said to you in confidence, are not sacred to you as they are to him. That the things he tell you in confidence, he can't trust you not to release them when you get angry or when you feel is necessary. It's hard enough right now for men. It's hard enough right now for men to speak to women, or to speak, or to release their innermost feelings towards a woman, or anybody for that reason. So what do? You hear that. You take it into your confidence. You thank him for revealing it to you. And then you put it away. For only you know about it. So that, because at some point, that information that he gave you, you'll see it in your conversation. You'll see it in your relationship. You'll start to understand why he does this. And it's because of that. See, part of walking in a faith-based relationship is your discernment. And that helps you with your language and how you speak to one another. Your discernment lets you understand, or lets you see, okay, he's going through this right now. That's why he's doing that. You know, if a man is uncertain about a thing, he doesn't feel strong. It scares him. When he's uncertain, it scares him. So if you see him saying he wants to do this thing, I should be doing this right here. I prayed about it, but God didn't speak to me completely about it. He's asking you right there, what do you think? And you have to understand how to speak to him about it. How to say to him, well, you know, let's go on and pray together and ask God what he wants you to do about the situation. And if he doesn't give us nothing, we'll go back again and again until he does answer. And if he answers you and not answer your husband, go to your husband and tell him what God spoke to me regarding this. And this is what he told me. Let him know that God spoke to you. Not you speaking out yourself, but God spoke to you regarding this situation. See, what you got to understand a lot of times is that we're to put together as mates, helpmates. I'm here to help. The man is there to help the woman, and the woman is there to help the man. And if your husband doesn't respect the God in you as much as you respect the God in him, then there's a disconnect there. There's a misconnect. And the only way to fix that misconnect is for you and that person to pray together. And when I say pray together, I don't mean him praying and you standing there backing him up. I mean him praying and then you coming in and you praying, and then him coming in and him praying, and you coming in right behind him and praying right with him. See, that's you and him praying together. That's not him just praying. I see a lot of times women or faith-based relationships, the man and the woman will be together in prayer, and the man will do all the praying. The woman won't say 2 words. The man do all the praying, and the woman is sitting over there wanting to pray about this or pray about that, or wanting him to say this or say that, and she won't say 2 words, and he'll forget. Those things might not even come across his mind, but he'll pray about what's on his mind or what's on his spirit, and he'll leave it out there and walk away. Amen, amen, amen. And she still got all this stuff over here bottled up that she wants to pray about. So then she goes to herself later on and she prays about the things she wants. That's not praying together. Praying together is you praying, him praying, you praying, him praying, and you guys might have to be down there for 45 minutes, 2 hours. I mean, me and my wife have gotten to sat down at times having prayer, just she and I, and we've sat down to the point, prayed so hard, so long, tears coming out your eyes, your heart just hurting, tired, sweating, like we was in church, because at the end of that prayer, We was happy. We was in sync. We had understanding. We had released all that was standing on our hearts at that time. That's prayer for a couple. When I was talking earlier, I spoke earlier about how so many married couples, faith-based married couples, were breaking up, things of that nature. And I truly believe it's because the husband and the wife were not praying together. They were not praying together. They talked, but they talked about things like, oh, I'm going to do this event. I'm going to do that event. We need to talk about this pastor. We need to talk about that pastor. We need to talk to this person on our board. We need to talk about that issue. They didn't talk enough to each other about what was going on in their hearts, about what was going on in their spirits. They weren't releasing the stuff that was building up that they needed to get out. The only way that you can learn to speak a unified language is to talk to one another. Oh yeah, I see men go into their closed room and they'll pray for hours, come out sweaty and crying with tears on their eyes. I see a woman, she'll go to her prayer room and she'll stay in there for hours talking in tongues and reading her word and just be there in meditation, just going crazy. But then they sit down in the room together and they don't say two words to each other. They can barely even speak to one another on a complete conversation or a complete topic without being angry or without shutting down. I say that to say this. If you want to have your marriage be strong, if you want to have your marriage be long, if you want to have your marriage filled with love and understanding, then you have to learn to respect the God in her just like she respects the God in you. And you have to learn to hear what his heart is saying, as well as hear what her heart is saying. Don't just listen to the words. Don't just allow the mouth to be moving and stuff to be coming out, because all that'll do is make an emotional mess. You have to learn to hear that person so that you can then understand what they really are trying to say. Learn your language. Learn your language. Learn that he's not perfect. He may talk a good talk. He may talk a good thing. He may have all the aspects that you want. But can you hear what he's truly saying? Can you hear when he's truly hurting? I can say today that when I see a couple that's been together 25, 35 years, and at the end of 25, 35 years, and I'm not talking about just going together, I'm talking about married, committed, rings, family, after 25, 35 years, and then at the end of 25, 35 years, that woman or that man says, I'm done, I've had enough. My first thought is, wow, you've been with this person 25, 35 years, and y'all got divorced? What happened? What happened? What happened was that they didn't know how to speak the partner's language. They didn't know how to hear their partner's voice. They didn't know how, when their partner was hurting and crying inside, all they could hear was him running to do another event. All they could see was him running to say to another funeral or another wedding or it's going to save somebody else. The problem was nobody was there to save them. And that's your job. You don't believe it? Yep. It's your job. It's your job to be there. Because in any relationship, that woman and that man have to become one. And you got to know when he's hurting. Even when he doesn't know when he's hurting. You got to know when she's afraid. Even when she doesn't know when she's afraid. You got to know, you got to have some direction. Even when the direction isn't sure. Because that's what relationships are made of. Especially heavenly relationships. To know what the needs of your mate is. If you watched any of my videos,
This is one of my biggest things when it comes to relationships. We throughout all the time we're together, we're making decisions, we're doing all these things, we're moving forward and backwards, we're fighting together to get forward. But we fail to realize that if you don't understand the language of your partner, you won't stay together. Even after 30 years, you're just having a roommate. After 40 years, you just having a friend. You just got used to what was going on and you didn't change. But what you got to understand is if you learn your partner's language, if you learn what makes that person tick, if you learn when that person is really hurting, when that person is just trying to be strong for you or for the people around them, when you know that that person really wants to do something, and even though they want to do it, they say they won't do it because you said something, then you can be more compassionate, more understanding, more strength filled for your partner. And it's hard to find a partner that can be strong when you're weak and be weak when you're weak when you're strong. See, it takes time for a woman to learn to humble themselves to your authority, but it also got to know when it's time for you to humble yourself to her authority, because God put y'all together to help one another, not to fight or not to argue, not to push one another around. He made a hierarchy very simple: the father, the wife, and then the children, and above all else, the Godhead. If you make sure that you walk in that mindset, if you make sure you walk in that idealism, if you make sure that you walk and you're both following God with all you have inside, if you're praising God, you're loving God together, you're both on one accord in prayer and relationship and understanding, and even if you are the person that's in the family that's the business person or the breadwinner, if you and her are on the same page and you can talk about it, you can discuss it, it's better for you. I used to have this thing with me and my wife for years, but when we first got together, she was working full time, I was working full time, money just coming into the house. Both of us got our credit cards and stuff in our pocket. But we used to run into a problem with the money because I would go spending on one end, just buying what I wanted, and then on the other end, she would be paying bills. But I never told her what I was doing. Well, for years, we would get into arguments, or not arguments. For years, she'd be like, "What happened to the money? What happened to the money?" And I say, "I did this or I did that." You know, my mindset was, okay, I made it, I can spend it, because I never would stop her from spending hers. But the idea behind her was we're a team, regardless of what's going on. And she wasn't saying I couldn't spend my money, but what she was saying is if I'm going to spend it, let her know so she can pay bills accordingly, because she was the one that paid the bills. And for years I made a mess of everything. I can't say it was her, it was me. I made a mess of everything. But don't you understand that the other day, matter of fact, a couple of days ago, I was at the shopping center, and I was using cash at first, and I ran out of cash, but I already had all the stuff. I was already in line, so I called my wife, and we have several credit cards. I called my wife and I said, "Babe," I said, "I'm gonna run a little bit over." I said, "I don't have enough cash. How much? Is it all right for me to use the credit card, and which one can I use?" She told me it was okay, and she told me which one to use, and everything was fine. But we was on one accord. We understand that, okay, the money's there. We know the money's there. I just got to know where I can pull it from and what I can use. But by me calling her is my way of saying I trust her. And when she does the same thing to me, she trusts me. She asks me sometimes, I tell her all the time, you can buy whatever you want to buy, do whatever you want to do. Before she'll make a purchase, even a small purchase, she'll call me or wait for me to come around and say, "Babe, I want to do this or that." Now, she takes care of the money, but she's just saying, letting me know, because of the respect between the two of us, because of the understanding that we walk together as one. That though I may work for the money, she actually is the one that takes care of the money and the household, because that's where she stays at. And I thank God for it. Every day I thank God for. I want to thank you for visiting with us today. I want to thank you for giving me your time and taking a chance to come out here and visit with us here. Again, if you don't get a chance to hear the video in its entirety, then please stop by the website. Come by Zeno FM. It's always there. And I'm your host, AJC. And I'll see you next time. Be blessed.